Have you ever wondered whether the souls you pray for, the ones in purgatory, somehow continue helping you here on earth? Have you ever felt an unexpected strength on a hard day and thought, is someone up there interceding for me? Maybe you've stood before a photo or even a grave and whispered, if you can hear me, please don't leave me alone right now. What almost no one knows is that Saint Faustina saw, in mystical visions, something profoundly comforting. The souls in purgatory are not only helped by our prayers, many times it is they who, in God, help those still walking through this world. And today, through what she recorded in her diary, you're about to discover how this mystery works and why your life on earth is far more accompanied than you realize. If you appreciate deep spiritual content that will transform the way you understand purgatory, the help of the holy souls, and God's mercy at work in your story, subscribe to this channel now. Activate the notification bell so you don't miss a single message. Your soul is about to be touched by revelations that may forever change how you think about the souls in purgatory and the ways they can, in God, help those still living on earth. Now, let us begin this sacred journey together, discovering what Saint Faustina saw when heaven opened its secrets to her humble heart. But what if I told you Saint Faustina saw the exact opposite? She witnessed that, in certain moments of intense prayer, God allowed her to sense something few people imagine. Some souls passing through purgatory carry such deep gratitude for the prayers offered for them on earth that, even in their state of purification, God grants them the grace to intercede silently for those who help them. In one of her diary entries, she describes that as she prayed for a suffering soul, she felt something like a spiritual movement around her, not an open vision, not a physical presence, but an interior nearness. It was as if the soul itself, touched by divine mercy, leaned toward her in gratitude. Faustina then saw, interiorly, a soft flame, a living light that seemed to rise and descend at the same time, as though the soul received consolation from God and immediately sent that same consolation back to earth, wrapped in gratitude. And it was at that very moment that the words of Psalm 91 shone within her. He will command his angels concerning you, to guard you in all your ways. Faustina understood that this guarding is not limited only to angels, but can also, mysteriously, be fulfilled through the intercession of purified souls when God permits. She realized that, when someone on earth prays for a soul in purgatory, that person is not only helping, they are awakening a spiritual bond that God uses to send protection, inspiration, and strength back into the human heart. The application of this to your life is deeper than it seems. Whenever you pray for someone who has passed, especially someone you long for, add one small phrase at the end. Lord, purify this soul, and if it is your will, allow it to intercede for me, not as a bargain, not as a trade, but as trust. With time, you may begin to notice that on the days when the sorrow is sharpest, courage appears in a new way, and perhaps that is God's grace reaching you through paths only heaven knows. And what if that unexpected strength that carried you through a painful day didn't come only from your faith, but from the silent intercession of a grateful soul in purgatory? There is something profoundly moving that Saint Faustina discovered about the souls in purgatory, something that completely transforms how we understand the communion between heaven and earth. She recounts that on a day of deep interior exhaustion, while praying in the silence of her cell, she saw a spiritual scene she never forgot. Before her, as if the veil of eternity opened for a moment, appeared the image of many souls wrapped in a pale light, like embers burning softly. These souls were not agitated, not trapped, not in despair. They were recollected, turned toward God, yet mysteriously oriented toward earth as well. Saint Faustina witnessed that when a soul received a sincere prayer, a rosary, a short supplication, a simple phrase spoken with love, that soul glowed with greater intensity. And what she saw next moved her deeply. Some of these souls, filled with gratitude, inclined spiritually toward the earth, as though wishing to return consolation. They could not speak, they could not appear, they could not intervene directly. But God allowed from them a kind of light, a gentle grace, to flow toward the person who had prayed. It was precisely at this moment that Saint Faustina felt a peace so deep that her once tired heart seemed strengthened again. And then, as if heaven itself were confirming the vision, Psalm 91 lit up within her once more. He will cover you with his feathers, and under his wings you will find refuge. She understood that this refuge was not merely poetic. It was real, concrete, spiritual. Sometimes this refuge came through angels, other times through mysterious inner consolations. And in certain moments, God allowed the light of a purified soul to touch the human heart as a way of saying thank you for the prayers offered. The application of this to your life is simple and transformative. Tonight, before you sleep, take the name of a loved one who has passed and say, Lord, pour your mercy over this soul. And if it is your will, allow the light of this soul to touch my heart with peace. Then stay silent for a few seconds. Just let God work. Don't wait for extraordinary signs. Just allow God to work in the invisible. How would your life change if you knew that your prayers not only help those who have departed, but also bring back to you a light that strengthens your soul? Perhaps no vision touched Saint Faustina's heart as deeply as the one in which God showed her how the souls in purgatory silently help those who walk this world carrying pain, battles, and fears. She says that once, while interceding for the most suffering souls, she felt as if her spirit were taken to a place of great depth. It wasn't a physical space, but a spiritual atmosphere wrapped in gentle light, as if it were between heaven and earth. There, she saw purified souls shining with different degrees of brightness. Some looked like small flames, others like more intense, almost golden flames. But all of them, without exception, turned their gaze, not with human eyes, but with spiritual attention, toward God. And then, in a moment that moved her to tears, Faustina saw that certain souls, especially those who had received many prayers on earth, were surrounded by a stronger light, as if God were drawing them closer to his heart. When that happened, that light overflowed and descended upon certain people still alive, mothers suffering for their children, children weeping for deceased parents, families going through grief, men and women fighting temptations and deep fears. Saint Faustina witnessed that this light did not fix everything at once, but it strengthened. It was as if God used the gratitude and purification of these souls to send spiritual help to those still struggling along the earthly path. It was not imagination. It was not wishful thinking. It was mercy in motion. Then the words of Psalm 91 resounded within her with supernatural clarity. He will cover you with his feathers. His faithfulness will be your shield. She understood that this shield includes the divine protection sent through the souls being purified in God's love. They do not abandon us. They do not forget us. They do not become indifferent. In God, they remain bound to us by love, a love purified, free, and full of mercy. The practical application for your life is deeply spiritual. When you are going through a hard day of anguish, anxiety, fear, or loneliness, say a short and sincere prayer. Lord, if any soul I have ever prayed for desires, with your permission, to intercede for me, receive this plea and send your light upon my heart. That simple phrase opens a real spiritual channel where God acts in ways we cannot always explain, but we can certainly feel. And what if that inexplicable peace you received on a very difficult day was actually God's answer, sent through the light of a grateful soul in purgatory? You might think the souls in purgatory live isolated, concerned only with their own purification. But what if I told you Saint Faustina saw exactly the opposite? In one of her most moving visions, described in entries like 20 and 1783, Saint Faustina relates that God allowed her to see something that forever changed her understanding of the bond between heaven, purgatory, and earth. She witnessed that some souls in purification, especially those who had received sincere prayers from family members or even strangers, were wrapped in a light so intense that they seemed to be spiritually reborn before her eyes. That light was not only healing for them, it was mission. Faustina saw that when God's mercy deeply touches a soul in purgatory, that soul, even while still being purified, receives a kind of inner impulse, a gratitude so pure, so stripped of self, that it turns into intercession. It is not a noisy intercession. It is not a spoken prayer. It is a movement of love, a love that rises to God and comes down to earth at the same time, like a luminous bridge. She describes that, in these visions, she perceived something incredible. Certain people on earth, especially those suffering doubts, temptations, fears, or loneliness, were suddenly surrounded by a kind of silent glow, a peace that seemed to come out of nowhere. But Faustina understood it was not out of nowhere. It was an answer to prayer, an answer to love, an answer to the spiritual bond between those who are having their hearts purified and those who are still battling in the world. And it was then that Psalm 91 burned within her like living fire, especially the verse that says, "For he will command his angels concerning you, to guard you in all your ways." Faustina saw that God does not send only angels. He also allows the gratitude of purified souls to become a form of spiritual protection. They do not replace the angels. They do not take their place, but in their gratitude, they cooperate with divine mercy. She understood that there is a spiritual network that does not break, that the love we give returns to us in unexpected ways. The practical application of this for you is profoundly simple. When fear comes today, when your thoughts grow dark, when anxiety rises like a wave, take a deep breath and say, "Lord, receive the prayer of the souls I once helped with my intentions, and cover me with your protection." This phrase does not invoke souls. That must never be done. It simply acknowledges the movement of mercy that Saint Faustina witnessed. God returning light to those who once spread light. How would your life change if you knew that, beyond the angels and God's grace, the silent gratitude of the souls you once helped might also be surrounding your path today? Perhaps no vision touched Saint Faustina as deeply as the one in which God showed her what happens when a living person, in suffering, offers a sincere prayer for a soul in purgatory. She recounts that one night, during intense intercession for someone who had died many years earlier, a spiritual scene began forming before her. Not like a film, but like a living, unmistakable inner revelation. She saw a soul wrapped in a gentle light, as if it were being slowly washed by waves of mercy flowing from the heart of Jesus. With each prayer, that light grew brighter, and Faustina noticed that the soul, still being purified, began to rise, not physically, but spiritually, like someone regaining strength after long fatigue. But what happened next left her speechless. That same soul, touched by mercy and gratitude, bowed before God and offered a silent supplication. For Faustina, not for itself, not for its own relief, but for her. Saint Faustina says she felt something enter her heart, a peace so delicate, so unexpected, that it seemed to stitch together a wound she didn't even know she had. It wasn't emotion. It wasn't imagination. It was grace. It was an answer. It was charity returning. And then Psalm 91 lit up inside her again, especially the verse, "He will cover you with his feathers, and under his wings you will find refuge." She understood that this refuge often arrives through unseen pathways, through divine protection that uses as its instrument even the gratitude of purified souls. Faustina realized that purgatory is not a place of forgetting. It is a place of transformation. And those being transformed by mercy also desire and are able to intercede silently for those they loved or for those who prayed for them. The application of this revelation for your life is simple and powerful. Tonight, Before you sleep, offer a short prayer for someone who has departed. Lord, pour your light upon the one who needs your purification, and may your mercy reach my home as well. Do not expect signs. Do not expect emotions. Just allow this prayer to open a spiritual door, the same door that Saint Faustina saw open. Are you ready to believe that a single prayer of yours can ignite light in two directions, in heaven and on earth? But there was something even deeper that Saint Faustina discovered, something that completely changes the way we understand the relationship between heaven, earth, and purgatory. She recounts that, in another moment of silent prayer, she felt her spirit being led to a kind of threshold, a space where God's mercy seemed to touch both the visible and invisible worlds at once. There she saw, not with physical eyes, but with her interior vision, countless souls in purgatory being surrounded by a light that flowed directly from the heart of Jesus. This light wasn't harsh or heavy. It was like a dawn gently pushing away the shadows, without rush, without pain, only with love. But what surprised her most was realizing that many of those souls, even while still being purified, directed their attention toward the earth. And as if extending spiritual hands, they offered silent prayers for people still alive, especially for those who prayed for them. Saint Faustina witnessed that in the spiritual realm, gratitude is strength. And the gratitude of purified souls rises before God like incense, becoming living intercession for those still walking through tears, doubts, battles, and temptations. She describes that often, when a person on earth is facing a difficult moment, an inner conflict, a temptation, or a day of deep discouragement, the supplication of a soul from purgatory rises as a spiritual shield, as a silent plea to heaven. Lord, help the one who helped me. Pour your protection over the one who gave me light. At that moment, Psalm 91 once again burned within her, as if God were explaining everything. For he will command his angels concerning you, to guard you in all your ways. She understood that God, in his infinite mercy, uses every means to protect his children. And one of those means, little known, rarely preached, yet profoundly real, is the intercession of grateful souls. They are not angels, but they are touched by the light of God. And that light becomes supplication, becomes protection, becomes a quiet presence surrounding those who still walk the earth. Faustina understood that no prayer is ever lost. No Hail Mary whispered for a departed soul is forgotten. No rosary offered is wasted. No name spoken before God goes unnoticed. Every prayer is transformed into help, for them and for you. The application for your life is profound and practical. When you face a difficult day, when anxiety rises, when you feel like you are fighting alone, say a simple prayer. Lord, receive the souls I have prayed for, and allow them to intercede for me. You may not see anything, but something begins to move. The light that reaches them can also reach you, just as Saint Faustina witnessed. And what if the unexpected strength you received on a hard day was actually the fruit of a grateful soul you helped illuminate? Perhaps no revelation touched Saint Faustina more deeply than the one in which God allowed her to see how the souls in purgatory respond to the prayers offered by those on earth. She writes that one day, while praying for a specific soul, she felt as if a wave of spiritual warmth passed through her, not physical heat, but a deep inner vibration, as though heaven itself had drawn near. At that moment, an interior vision opened before her, a vast space bathed in gentle golden light, where countless souls were being purified. Yet none of them were in despair. They were turned toward God with hope. Faustina noticed that whenever someone on earth prayed for one of those souls, a ray of light descended from the heart of Jesus upon it. And the moment that ray touched the soul, something happened. Something that would forever change the way we understand the bond between the living and the departed. The soul, upon receiving that light, turned briefly toward earth with an impulse of love so pure, so sincere, so intense that Faustina described it as a movement of gratitude that becomes supplication. It was as if they were silently saying, "Lord, bless the one who helped me, strengthen the one who remembered me, protect the one who prayed for me." This vision showed her that every prayer you make for someone who has passed returns to you multiplied, not as payment, but as the natural fruit of divine mercy. It was then that Psalm 91 shone within Faustina with extraordinary clarity. He will cover you with his feathers, and under his wings you will find refuge. She understood that this promised protection manifests in ways we don't always perceive. Sometimes God uses his angels. Sometimes he uses his direct grace. And sometimes, to the surprise of many, he uses the silent intercession of the souls we are helping with our prayers. Souls cannot return to earth, but they can supplicate. They cannot speak to us, but they can intercede for us. They cannot act in the physical world, but they can move heaven on our behalf. And that is why, according to Faustina, those who pray for the souls never walk alone. Even in dark days, even in nights of anguish, even in moments of fear, there is always someone in heaven or in purgatory praying for you. The practical application of this revelation is simple and powerful. Tonight, before you sleep, choose a soul to pray for. It may be a relative, a friend, or someone whose name returned to your heart. Say, "Lord, grant this soul the light of your mercy and guard my path as well." You cannot imagine the strength of this gesture. In the spiritual world, nothing is small. And what if the peace you felt yesterday, out of nowhere, was exactly this? A soul illuminated by your prayer, interceding for you in the presence of God. There is something profoundly moving that Saint Faustina discovered about the way God transforms the suffering of souls in purgatory into active love, a love that reaches those who are still walking here. In one of the most delicate visions recorded in her diary, Entry 1783, she recounts that, while praying silently, she sensed the atmosphere around her soften. The heaviness in the air disappeared, and a serene peace filled her heart. That was when the vision began. Before her, a soul in purification approached the light of Christ. There was no despair in its spiritual face, only a burning desire, the desire to love. Faustina saw that this soul, as it received a purifying ray of mercy, turned its attention toward earth, not to ask for help, but to offer it. It was as if it were saying, "Lord, I still love those I left behind. Allow my gratitude to become a blessing for them." The scene was so intense that Faustina said it felt as though heaven itself were breathing with her. The soul could not act physically, but it could intercede. It could not touch the earth, but it could touch the heart of God, and God would touch our hearts through it. But here is what surprised Saint Faustina the most. Every time a soul received a prayer from earth, it drew closer to Christ. And the closer it came to the light, the stronger its ability became to intercede for the one who had prayed for it. It was a divine cycle of mercy that grew on both sides, the soul being purified, and the person on earth being strengthened. It was in that moment that the words of Psalm 91 came alive before her. "For he will command his angels concerning you, to guard you in all your ways." Faustina understood that this promised guardianship does not happen only through angels, but also through souls who, purified by mercy, become like silent flames of supplication on our behalf. She realized something few understand. Those who pray for the souls in purgatory do not only help them, they are accompanied by them. And that accompaniment is not superstition, nor imagination. It is part of the logic of God's love. No one who loves stops loving simply because they have changed their dwelling place. The practical application is simple and deeply transformative. When you feel vulnerable today, facing fear, a difficult decision, or a sadness that keeps returning, pray quietly. Lord, may the soul I prayed for intercede for me now, according to your will. Do not ask for signs. Do not expect instant miracles. Simply allow mercy to make its way toward you. How would your life change if you knew you were not walking only with the strength of your own faith, but also with the silent supplication of the souls you have helped draw closer to God? But there was something even deeper that Jesus wanted to reveal to Saint Faustina about the silent mission of the souls in purgatory, something that completely transforms how we see their suffering and our own journey here on earth. She recounts that one night, while praying before the Blessed Sacrament, she felt a presence so gentle that her heart calmed instantly. Then, interiorly, she saw a scene she would never forget, a soul, still surrounded by the soft light of purification, approaching the heart of Christ with indescribable humility. This soul was not praying only for itself. It carried with it the name of someone on earth. Faustina understood that whenever a soul suffers in purgatory, its suffering is never useless, it is offered. Every pain, every act of purification, every longing of that soul could be united to the love of Christ and transformed into grace for someone here. The soul seemed to say silently, as one placing a treasure at Jesus' feet, "For those I loved, for those who suffer, for those who helped me." Jesus received that offering as something precious, and before Faustina's spiritual eyes, a light descended upon the living person whose name the soul carried. But here is the most surprising detail she understood in that moment. Souls who suffer in purgatory help in ways we would never perceive on our own. They intercede especially at the moments when we are weakest, in the days when we cannot pray, in the hours when fear tightens, in the situations where faith feels too small. Then Psalm 91 shone again in Faustina's heart like a living promise. He will rescue you from the snare of the enemy and from every deadly plague. She realized that this deliverance often happens through invisible means, and that one of the ways God protects his children is through the supplication of these souls who love him deeply and desire the good of those who remain. Faustina saw that there is a kind of spiritual protection that exists only because someone, in purgatory, is offering their suffering and hope for you. It is a holy exchange. You pray for their liberation, and they intercede for your protection. This revelation forever changed the way Faustina understood the communion of saints. The practical application is direct and profoundly effective. When you wake up tomorrow, even before getting out of bed, offer a brief prayer for the souls God brings to your heart. Lord, grant light to the souls who need you, and guard my path today. This gesture opens a real spiritual door. God listens, the souls receive, and you are protected. How would your life change if you knew that while you pray for a soul, that soul is praying for you, exactly in the place where you most need help? Perhaps the most surprising part of Saint Faustina's visions was when God showed her that the help offered by the souls in purgatory is not limited to intercession. It also involves spiritual protection, especially in the moments when you feel most vulnerable. She recounts that on a day of deep inner anguish, as she walked through the convent, she felt a pressure so strong that it seemed to come from both outside and inside at once, as if a spiritual shadow were trying to weigh upon her soul. Faustina saw nothing with her eyes, but she sensed the approach of a trial, a spiritual attack, and then something unexpected happened. She describes how suddenly a gentle peace wrapped around her chest, as if someone had laid a warm cloak over her shoulders, and in the silence of her soul, she understood. A soul in purgatory was interceding for her at that very moment. Faustina saw, interiorly, a faint light, like the pure flame of a candle, drawing near to her. She understood that it was the soul she had prayed for the night before. That very soul, still in purification, now bowed before God asking for her protection, purified by love. That soul was saying silently before Christ, "Lord, protect her. Do not allow evil to touch her heart." And Jesus answered that supplication with a beam of light that descended directly upon Faustina, dissolving the unrest and bringing a supernatural calm. But here is what surprised the saint the most. The soul was not interceding because it knew Faustina personally, but because Faustina had helped it. In God's logic, no act of charity is forgotten. No prayer is wasted. Every mercy returns multiplied. It was in that exact moment that the words of Psalm 91 shone within her as an unquestionable truth. He will cover you with his feathers. His faithfulness will be your shield. Faustina understood that sometimes this shield is strengthened precisely through the intercession of these souls. They do not act on their own, but God allows them to draw near to those who helped them in life or in prayer. She realized that a spiritual battle is fought in silence over every person, and that many of the victories you've had, that peace that came suddenly, that unexpected strength, that clarity you found when you didn't know where it came from, may have been the result of a soul saying before God, "Lord, guard him, help him, walk with him." The application of this revelation to your life is practical and deeply comforting. When you feel fear, confusion, or an unexplainable heaviness today, stop for a moment. Place your hand over your chest and say, "Lord, I receive the protection that comes from your mercy, and I thank the souls who intercede for me according to your will." This is not superstition. It is not imagination. It is the communion of saints lived in everyday life, exactly as Saint Faustina witnessed. And what if that sudden peace that reached you right when fear was about to overwhelm you was heaven's response to the intercession of a soul you helped with your prayers? But Saint Faustina received an even deeper revelation, one that completely changes how we understand the relationship between those on earth and those in purgatory. She recounts that one night, while praying for several souls in purification, she felt as though the atmosphere around her became lighter, almost as if the air were being warmed by an invisible presence. It was not an open vision. No human form appeared, but something alive, present, and reverent was there. Then Jesus allowed her to see, interiorly, an extraordinary spiritual scene. Saint Faustina describes seeing countless souls in purification gathered before Christ, like soft, luminous flames, each with its own intensity. They were not in despair, but in deep recollection. And in the center of that scene, she saw something that moved her deeply. Every time someone on earth prayed for one of these souls, a ray of light descended from the heart of Jesus and touched that flame. The soul glowed more brightly, its spiritual suffering softened, and immediately, that same soul turned to Christ in intercession for the person who had helped it. It was a simultaneous movement. You pray for a soul, Christ touches that soul, and that soul, touched by mercy, intercedes for you. Faustina described it as if heaven had created a continuous flow of love, mercy rising, mercy descending, mercy returning. And in that moment, something inside her lit up, not by reasoning, but by revelation. She understood that the souls in purgatory are not passive. They are active in the spiritual communion. They pray, they plead, they accompany, they help. It was then that Psalm 91 touched her soul with force for the second time. "For he will command his angels concerning you, to guard you in all your ways." Faustina realized that this promise does not refer only to heavenly angels, but also to the mysterious way in which God, in his mercy, allows souls in purification to take part in this spiritual guarding through silent supplications. Not by their own power, but because God receives their prayer and responds with love to those who help them with faith. She understood clearly that helping a soul in purgatory is like lighting a candle on your own path. It is allowing heaven to move toward you through intercessors you have never seen, but who recognize you spiritually. The application of this revelation to your life is simple, concrete, and deeply effective. When you walk through a difficult day, facing fear, deep pain, or uncertainties you do not know how to resolve, pray briefly, "Lord, In your mercy, receive the souls I pray for, and allow them to intercede for me according to your will. It is a small gesture, but it opens a great door, because, according to Saint Faustina, when you help heaven, heaven helps you. How would your life change if you knew that you do not walk only with your own strength, but also with the invisible help of the souls for whom you have prayed? Now that you've walked through all these revelations Saint Faustina received about how the souls in purgatory help those who are still living on earth, something profound has been planted in you. Your heart has begun to see the invisible more clearly, because you have discovered 3 truths that will never be taken from you. First, that the souls are not forgotten. They are on a path of purification guided by mercy. Second, that this path is not isolated. The communion with the living remains alive in the heart of God. That Psalm 23 speaks not only of your journey here, but also of the divine guidance that reaches those who have already crossed the threshold of eternity. Take a breath. Let this reality settle in your heart. As you read these words, what Saint Faustina saw in her visions continues to happen. God is closer than he seems. He is guiding you from within, softening fears, illuminating memories, strengthening the fragile places no one else sees. And at the same time, he is leading the souls you love through his mercy. Every step, every purification, every advance sustained by the love that never fails. You are not alone. They are not alone. Right now, as you breathe, the promises of Psalm 23, I shall not want, you are with me, you restore my soul, are being fulfilled silently in your life. And they are also being fulfilled in the lives of those who have gone before you, because the shepherd leads all his children, those who walk on earth and those being purified in eternity. Here is the truth. Purgatory is not abandonment. It is care. It is mercy. It is transformation. And Saint Faustina witnessed that this transformation often pours grace upon those who remain here, graces of protection, intercession, and peace. Allow yourself to feel this now. Longing does not disappear, but it becomes supported. Absence does not vanish, but it ceases to be despair. Love does not end. It changes form. It is purified. It is elevated. And through God's mercy, it continues. If these revelations from Saint Faustina touched your heart and opened your eyes to God's loving presence in the mystery of purgatory, take a step now. Subscribe to this channel and turn on notifications so you can continue receiving messages that strengthen your faith and illuminate spiritual realities that many people overlook. Write in the comments which part of this message spoke most deeply to you. Your testimony may be the light someone else needs in the middle of their sorrow. Share this video with someone who is grieving the loss of a loved one and needs to know that God never abandons, neither those on earth nor those in purgatory. And above all, allow this revelation to transform your life today. Before you sleep, entrust to God the souls you love. When you wake, ask to feel his presence. And throughout the day, repeat in your heart what Psalm 23 promises and Saint Faustina confirmed. The shepherd leads all of us, those who walk here, and those being purified by the light of eternity.